Hello amazing people of the internet, welcome back to your favorite family-friendly film photography channel. Right? Anyway, go fuck yourself. If you're not familiar with the channel, I live in Japan, and I usually travel in the Japanese countryside alone or with my amazing friends and have short road trips. However, this time I'm taking you on a different type of journey. For my full-time job, I am lucky enough to go on business trips from time to time, and this time I went to Australia and New Zealand. And so I decided to take my camera with me, my Leica MP, and it was actually interesting to see the results and how my approach to photography changed in the 3 places I visited in 2 weeks' time. Well, now sit down, hold on tight, and enjoy the video. Part 1, Sydney. It was my first time visiting Australia. Luckily, since I live in Japan, the flight wasn't too long, just 9 hours, and I was already in Sydney. I stayed in the CBD in a fantastic hotel room that was bigger than my apartment in Tokyo. So as every well-respected photographer does, I took a photo of the room. After a long night of rest, I was ready to explore the city. The weather was incredible, bright sunlight and blue sky. My first stop of the day was the Royal Botanical Gardens.
Nice gardens. I mean, everything is fancy as fuck in this place. It's insane. Not really used to this, and I feel out of place. Here, I'm not sure how many good photos I'm taking, so because this is not my type of photography, you know. I think the goal here, if I have to find a photographic goal, is to take photos that look like postcards. Roman Fox, if I have to name a photographer. Roman Fox, he's really good at this. Find these scenes that really look like postcards and take beautiful snaps. Hello Roman, hope you're doing well.
And yeah, I will admit it, I wasn't really sure about the photos I was taking. You see, I feel confident in certain scenarios, remote places, nature, abandoned stuff. That's my thing. I'm not used to shiny cities and postcard-like photos, but it was a good challenge for myself. Since Sydney was so pretty, I had to take some postcard photos or die trying.
This place is insane. My god, I'm here on business trip, but I feel on holiday. What the fuck?
I've been in Asia for many years now, and it was my first time visiting a country that felt very different from what I'm used to. When you first get to Sydney and you see the sunlight reflecting on the water with a clear view of the bay, you're pretty much left speechless. That's why my duty was to take photos that did justice to this wonderful place. I was shooting a new film stock to me. Yeah, only to me. It's Kodak Gold. Like, everyone knows about this, and it slaps. It's so fucking cool. Like, honestly, it doesn't make sense to pay double the price for Portra, and I discovered this in 2025. Yeah, good job. I kept walking, crossed the center, and walked along Market Street, passing through Westfield, Sydney. To my surprise, I took a couple of photos of the Westfield Tower that I think are quite a vibe. Then I kept walking to Piermont, and I know what you're thinking. This is the most basic photo walk of Sydney, but for me it was all new, and I was having a great time. The weather was perfect, and walking around was so relaxing. There were some tourists, but not nearly as many as in Tokyo, and the sunlight was perfect for Kodak film. I'm really happy with the photos I took, and to my surprise, they have that postcard feeling that I was hoping for.
Ooh, this is such a lovely area. Beautiful, beautiful place. I think the approach to life is a bit different here. I'm used to Tokyo. On the street, everyone is very calm and quiet and very serious, nobody showing emotion. And here I was shocked because everyone's you know, couples holding hands, people laughing, lots of people running. They do all sorts of activities outside because it's so beautiful.
I then took a ferry ride to the other side of the bay, towards Sydney's Luna Park. I've never been to the States and of course to Coney Island or a Luna Park like that, but these places are always a good source for great imagery, so I wanted to go, and that turned out to be a good decision. The Luna Park was cool, nothing more to say, but the photos I took there are among the best of the trip. The first one was the swing carousel. I thought that if I shot it at the slower speed, the motion blur would create an interesting effect, and yeah, I was right. But this photo of the Ferry wheel is the one that I like the most. It's a postcard. The saturated colors, the compositions, that perfectly placed white cloud, it's exactly what I wanted. Now hold on, because for the next minute, I will justify why I'm using a Leica and why it's better. You see, at the beginning, it was a pain in the ass to get used to this system, and I was just using the stupid camera because it made me look cool. While now still makes me look cooler than most of the people, I think it's beneficial for my photography. You see, I have to visualize the photos in my mind rather than seeing them through the lens. Make sense? Doesn't fucking make sense. I left Coney Island, got changed, and took another ferry, this time to Manly Beach. I know, nothing special, but you have to remember it was my first time, and I had one day of free roaming before I had to get to work. By the time I arrived in Manly, the light was becoming softer, revealing shades of magenta. It was stunning, watching the waves crash on the shore, people surfing and chilling on the beach. That was the end of my Sydney exploration and the first part of the video. I'm quite happy with the results. One day I'll come back for a proper photo trip and visit more remote areas. Part 2, Melbourne. And after spending a few great days in Sydney, I took a flight to Melbourne, where I actually had the whole weekend for myself. Upon arrival, I took another photo of my giant hotel room and went straight to sleep. I was exhausted. I had 2 full days in Melbourne and wanted to explore as much as possible. Okay. Good morning, Melbourne. It's time for a fucking coffee. Let's go. I went to a cafe that had been recommended to me by a friend in Tokyo. After an incredible flat white, I was full of energy and ready for a day of photography. This place evoked different feelings in me compared to Sydney. It reminded me of Europe. The architecture felt like a mix between London and Berlin. If Sydney made me want to take postcard-like photos, Melbourne didn't give me those vibes. I knew my photos would be different, and without thinking too much, I started doing street photography. I am the worst street photographer ever, and I don't like street photography. But in Melbourne, it was different. This place was so grungy. You know, you had the Victorian architecture mixed with lots of graffitis and weird people walking around. It was so cool, and I had such a great time doing street photography. So, I don't know if it's good, probably is not, but anyway.
I'm overzealous when I'm thinking about the cash flow. I never had no handouts, just came natural. I've been testing so much, all these restless nights, all these different situations that I've been through.
I headed towards Brunswick Street, and man, this place was so cool. Brunswick is a grungy, eclectic neighborhood of Melbourne. The artistic vibe was spot on. Every back alley was covered in colorful graffiti, and it was surprisingly quiet for a Saturday afternoon. After a few days in Sydney, I was looking for something different, and it was perfect. Every back alley was covered in colorful graffiti. I don't know why I was shooting street photography, but the variety of people, colors, the mix of graffiti with classic architecture, it was fascinating.
I just met a Japanese guy, Yuji-san. You're the king. So this guy had a medium format camera where he mounted Instax back, and he was taking portraits of people on the street. He was so fucking cool.
Time flew by. I was completely lost in my thoughts, taking photos and enjoying the beautiful day. I kept walking from Brunswick to Collingwood, a similar neighborhood. Visited the gallery, took some more photos, and of course I had another incredible flat white. My god, these are amazing. And I ended up my walk in Fitzroy Gardens, where I spent 30 minutes enjoying the weather and the peaceful view. It was the end of a very eventful day in Melbourne.
Man, that's the most expensive thing that I own at the moment.
The next day I woke up early and went to the Queen Victoria Market. I had the 50th flat white of the trip, and no joke, I probably gained 2 kilos just from these damn flat whites.
Another day, another glorious coffee here in Australia. Not far from here there's the Queen Victoria Market, and I hope it's a nice spot to do some street photography, or whatever that means.
Even though it was early, the place was already busy. You could find all sorts of food, from Brazilian to Chinese, but I wasn't there to eat. I was just enjoying my new life as a street photographer. After an hour around the market, I decided it was time to head somewhere new. While waiting for my Uber, I saw this scene and took the shot. This gentleman in the light blue pullover on the left, slightly disguised, creates a nice contrast with the red umbrellas. Lots of people walking around, families having breakfast. This photo captures the energy that I felt in Melbourne. So I took an Uber to St. Kilda, a neighborhood along the beach, grabbed a massive sandwich and started exploring.
Very old Luna Park, very cool area. I reckon that this is a situation where I don't feel comfortable shooting, because yeah, I mean, I'm not really a street photographer. Actually, I would like to be next to one that is a good street photographer and can read the scene better than me. My idea is to walk along the beach, see if there's anything interesting to shoot.
After passing the Luna Park, I reached the beach, where I took a shot that really captured the mood. The beach vibes here were different from Sydney. It felt like the UK, an alternative version of Brighton in a way. I kept walking, stopping every time something caught my eye, like this lady here, for example. It's hard to say which city I liked more. I loved my time shooting both in Sydney and Melbourne because they were equally beautiful in very different ways. Just 1 hour flight apart, these two cities are radically different, and they pushed me towards different photography approaches. That was the end of the weekend and of my photo shoot in Melbourne. I had 2 busy days ahead and then another flight to a different country. Part 3. Auckland. As always, once arrived, I took a photo of my hotel room. This one had an incredible view of the city facing west. During my days in Auckland, I had the pleasure of witnessing amazing sunsets from the comfort of my bed. I spent a few busy days in Auckland and even had a one-day trip to Wellington. However, I was so busy, I couldn't take many photos. But that Saturday, I had a day to myself before flying back to Tokyo. So I went for a short trip outside the city to Waiheke Island. I'm sorry, I don't know how it's pronounced. Waiheke Island is a very famous place for wine production, so what a better way to enjoy the last day of this wonderful business trip, taking photos and getting drunk on a beautiful island in New Zealand? I took a 30-minute ferry ride to the island and arrived at the first stop, the Mud Brick Vineyard.
Good morning, guys. I am so tired. I'm completely destroyed from this business trip.
So while I was enjoying my glass of wine, I took some photos of this beautiful place. The views were stunning. I shot an entire roll of Portra 160 on the beautiful hills covered in vines. So after visiting a few vineyards, taking photos, drinking lots of wine, it was the end of the day. So of course, this video doesn't do justice to New Zealand, but I promise you that I will come back and we will have a proper road trip. So this is the end of the third and final part of the video. So that's the end of the video. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was interesting to change subject for once. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I am lucky enough to go on these business trips, sometimes to beautiful places, most of the time to beautiful places. And you know, moving forward, I want to keep shooting during these business trips because eventually in 5 or 10 years from now, I'd like to publish a zine, a small book about these business trips because it's such a interesting memory for me and it's quite unique. It's not that everyone gets to, you know, travel for work to Korea or Australia or to Japan. So I'm definitely lucky, and yeah, I will keep documenting this, and who knows, maybe one day I will sell you an overpriced book about an Italian guy in Asia and you will buy it. I'll see you in the next one.